Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the Netflix anime film based on the role-playing game of the same name, NiNo Kuni.
This movie follows high schooler Yu and his friend Haru.
I didn't go to high school.
Get involved in a case involving his childhood friend Kotona, which forces him to go back and forth between another world that is different but somehow similar to their world, NiNo Kuni. That's very confusing the way it's described.
Right, it's like, which is it?
Basically, they go back and forth between an alternate universe that has similarities in the similar people.
That's it.
All right.
They should just say that. Why you gotta have like 40 different words to describe one thing? Just say it's different, but the same.
And we had seen the thumbnail on Netflix for a while, and we weren't sure if we wanted to see it. Then one day we said, let's go ahead and watch it and see what it's about. It's a movie. It's not a series. And that's when we learned that it was based on a role-playing game and a little more about it. It turned out to be interesting. I would say not one of the best anime movies we've seen, but it was very interesting. Had an interesting story and plot.
Right.
And had some characters who had a little depth.
Right. And we were surprised that one of the animators for the movie actually works for Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
And did the animation for that. And you can definitely tell when you look at it, whether the thumbnail or the trailer, that it is definitely one of those same artists, because it does seem that it has that same aesthetic feel as a Miyazaki film.
Right.
But as we were watching the film, like I said, it started off a little slow, but it does get more interesting as it goes along.
It's not slow for long.
Right,
because you immediately have some action where one of the characters is hit by a car. No, stabbed.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of like, what kind of movie is this gonna be? But as it goes along, and they end up going to this other world, you have to see how these two worlds work. It has to be some type of legend or myth behind it and stuff. And it's got a dark edge to it with how it works, because, like you said, how it even starts out and how we're supposed to be lives in that universe connect to the real world. So if someone lives in one universe, they have to reciprocate with someone else being taken out in the other or something, if it's changed or something. And it's
there's a correlating action in the other universe.
Right.
Regardless of which one, there's something that correlates in response to it in the alternate universe.
And so it's got the edge to it for that. But other than that, it's pretty much a little bit of an adventure film. It's got some action, and it almost feels like you're watching one of those medieval stories where they have someone from the present being sent back in time. Only difference is it's a different world.
And then you have one character, Haru, who in one universe is wheelchair bound, but in the other universe he can use his legs freely.
Right.
And at first he's thrown off when he finds out in the other universe that this is the case. Now, there's so many different interesting plot twists in here. There's so many that telling you a lot of them would ruin your experience for watching it. So we can't.
Right.
But we can tell you that it's worth watching just to see the plot twist and how the correlating actions in each universe sets off chain reactions amongst all the characters that exist in each universe.
Right. So there was a lot of interesting things going on. It's just that in terms of being really gripping or engaging, it just wasn't hitting some of those notes. But there was effort put into it, in the characters in the world, and setting up on how the universe works. And there was a point in there when it gets towards the end of the film, as Mama said, there's a lot of things that happen, there's the twists and everything. There is a point in there where some of the twists feel like, okay, you're stretching, okay, you're reaching, this you just threw in. I can't tell you which ones they are, but there are going to be a few of them when you watch it, you're going to be like, okay, you're kind of throwing me off today, because there were just some things in there that were believable, but then they kept piling twist with the twist, with the twist, and another twist, and it's like, okay, the more twists you put on, the less believable it's beginning to be, because now it's getting ridiculous.
But in the other universe, you see how it works, and then you see the correlation, and it stops seeming so far-fetched because of the things that transpire.
Right.
So quickly will tell you that you and as we mentioned, Haru are friends, and they're friends with a girl named Kotona. Yu was really obsessed with Kotona, who's the one who gets stabbed, but in the other universe, she ends up being a princess, and there are some correlating things that match up with her stabbing in the other universe.
Right.
And again, Haru is not handicapped in the other universe, and both of them in, we'll just say our universe, are in love with Kotona.
Right.
And this causes some problems between them in not this universe, but in the alternate universe.
Yeah.
And Yu ends up losing his mind for a short time.
Yeah, that
actually looks like he's going to become a villain.
Yeah, that was like probably the darkest part of the film, other than how, like you said, the correlation, the lives work between both worlds. There was a point in the movie where it just got a little uncomfortable. It's like you're getting obsessive, and like no one really got into that. I mean, it just glossed over. It shows up, and then it kind of goes away. I mean, they go do other things, but they never really address the fact that he was willing to like let people lose their lives so she would live. It's like no one's gonna say anything about this. It just leaves, and they never bring it up again.
He said, "I'll do whatever I have to do," and he didn't even care if he ended up harming his friend Haru.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
One part that was really interesting is that you started seeing which characters from the alternate universe were the people they knew in the real universe.
Right.
And it wasn't obvious in a lot of cases. Sometimes they looked alike, sometimes they were similar but not exactly alike, and they had to figure out this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. Oh, this is this person. How can they know? And then Haru's backstory turns out to be really interesting.
Yes, true.
And the ending is bittersweet. Very bittersweet. And not what you'd expect. And I would have to say the ending is probably the best part of the movie, and I'm not saying that as a joke. It really is because of the way it wraps up, the climax, and the conclusion. All very interesting, and they're things we have not seen in any other movie. Right. Whether it's anime or American animation. Now, those of you who are anime buffs and have seen quite a lot of movies and shows, this may be similar to something you've seen. Us being 2 years in, for us it was like, wow, we haven't seen this done. So we found it to be really interesting and a refreshing change to have an ending we didn't figure out. Right.
And you like movies where there's new things that happen, you can't predict it. If you can predict most of the stuff that happens in the movie, that kind of tells you that it did pretty bare minimum. But if you are like, you're guessing, oh, this is going to happen, and the opposite happens, or something else out of left field happens, yeah, that's the makings of a great movie. And like I said, this one is not the best anime movie ever, or one of the best, but there's definitely effort put into it. They really tried their best to make this an interesting story, an interesting world, and for people who have Netflix, would definitely get their money's worth for watching it. Even if they kind of don't watch it again, it's still something that's worth looking at and enjoying.
It showed promise. Unfortunately, when you see it, you'll know there's no way there can be a sequel.
Right.
So, if you are a fan of the role-playing game, or if you've seen NiNoKuni, and you want to let us know how it compares to that game,
right?
Or if you've just seen it like we did because it was an anime movie and you wanted something to watch, let us know what you think in the comments below.
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on Paws Podcast.
Absolutely.
So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Masculine Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket.